we are on to garden modifications for the person. Adapting the gardener. Garden modifications for the person. Eliminate physical barriers. Adapt the gardener with specialized tools, such as power planters, pruners, UV protecting sun hat, long reach tools. Garden modifications for the person. Work tools. Helpful tools include long-handled pruners, spring-loaded hand tools, T-handle tools, lightweight push-pull hoe, a soil miller which works like a push-pull trowel, small rakes, forks, and trowels with telescopic handles, battery-powered trimmers, and robotic mowers. Disability Work Tools has several different options for work tools, and they sometimes can modify tools that are specific to a person. In this diagram, you have good hand placement. The hand and wrist are in neutral and a stress-free position. There's a soft grip ergonomic handle. You also see a poor position with stretched tendons on the upper wrist, compressed tissues on the lower wrist, and calluses on the palm. This is stressful and the person has less force when doing work. Here are a variety of garden tools that can be used to help modify the gardening experience for the gardener. You have T-handle, long reach fork and spade, pruning shears, arm support cuff. There's a fork with arm support cuff, classic snips, a spade with an arm cuff, pruning shears, a plastic ball seed sower, easy grip garden spade, and the ever important colorful duct tape. I couldn't garden without it. In this diagram you have a power planter attachment, long-handled lightweight telescopic leaf rake, long-handled swiveling grass shears, a long-handled pruner, long-handled two-pronged weeder, a long-handled fruit picker, long-handled edging shears, long-handled shovel, long-handled garden cultivator, long-handled spearhead spade, long-handled planting tool, long-handled lightweight trowel, long-reach pruner with extension rod, and a long-handled weed fork. Here you have a long-handled claw weeder, long-handled grass trimmer, long-handled bulb planter or a vegetable seedling tool, an extendable tree pruner with a cut and hold feature. Keeping trees, bushes, and other yard plants tidy becomes increasingly challenging with age. Climbing up small ladders to prune tree limbs is a fall risk for those with poor balance, and stooping down to shape a small shrub is too difficult due to back problems. An extendable reach pruner is the perfect tool to save users' knees and backs by giving them an extra reach for light-duty pruning. The must-have features here are user-friendly length adjustment. You want it to have an easy squeeze handle. You want a non-slip grip. You want it to be lightweight. Here is an electric handheld leaf blower. The purpose is to use this because raking leaves is a full body workout that requires strength, balance, and endurance. Rather than gathering leaves the hard way, leaf blowers can clean up a yard faster than raking and at a fraction of the effort. Tackling leaves with an electric handheld leaf blower helps users stay actively involved in their yard work without tiring themselves out. It has to be 8 pounds or less to make the job less taxing. You would like bottom-mounted air intake, a double hand grip, and options for different nozzle design. Usually it comes with a flat and a round nozzle. Flat nozzle tips are best for sweeping loose leaves quickly, while the round nozzle tips are ideal for loosening leaves that are stuck in the grass. You'd also want it to have multiple speed options, and definitely avoid bulky leaf blowers. Here we have a coiled hose, offers easy storage when the hose is retracted, and they don't require a lot of effort to wrangle since they coil up naturally. A kink guard. Kink guards prevent the hose from bending and kicking while in use. A lightweight garden hose, and a fabric expanding hose. The fabric expandable hose is tempting. However, I've had several of these and they end up ripping really easily, and I pretty much plan on, if I'm going to buy one of these hoses, it's going to live for a very short time. It is a lot easier to lug around though, so sometimes I make that decision. Garden modifications for the person. Seeding. Seeding is very important. you could get a Vertex garden rocker that swivels and allows the person to extend their range from their spot. It allows them to reach further, and it alleviates tension on the back muscles, knees, and hips. The garden rocker is great for those with chronic pain, osteoporosis, gardeners who find it difficult to kneel and bend, those who want to protect their knees. This seat is adjustable. If stability is important, the swiveling stool might not be a good option. Here are some different seating options. You could do your weeding and planting from a prone position. Garden modifications for the person. Kneeling. Knee pads increase comfort and prevent injury. Besides making kneeling positions more comfortable, simple, low-cost kneeler pads offer support which will help prevent knee pain and injury. Consider the thickness of the pad. Flimsy pads don't offer as much support and aren't as durable. Memory foam pads don't last as long as the high-density foam pads. If you want a soft pad, you might find high-density foam mats uncomfortable. Recycled plastic pads are even more firm. If a person needs some help getting up from a kneeling position, a kneeler might be best. Handles make it easy for the user to get up on their own. They have that push strength. The kneeler doubles as a portable bench, so a user can alternate between working from a kneeling or a sitting position. They are lightweight. Some of the models fold, so they're easy to store. Some of them are just a solid piece of plastic. Top tips to make moving things easier. Have a range of objects that you can carry things with. Take care. Beware of arm and back strain. Digging. Digging is when you turn over the soil to a spade's depth or more. I love playing in the dirt. Digging helps break up the soil, to aerate it, and to help loosen the weeds. Playing in the dirt and sifting my soil and smelling it is one of my favorite parts about working in the garden. Digging can be hard work, but there are ways to make the job easier. Top tips to make digging easier. Avoid the need for regular digging by making narrow, no-dig beds. Simply cover the bed with a thick mulch such as newspapers or cardboard, and then a thick top layer of manure or compost. You could also use wood chips from Chip Drop. Keep your beds narrow so that you don't have to step on the soil to reach. Worms and microorganisms will help break the soil down, and the mulch will help stop weeds from growing. You can also lay down a weed-suppressing membrane in permanent beds and plant through slits cut in the material. Sowing seeds. One of the most satisfying gardening activities is choosing your seeds. Choose seed varieties with good germination rates. You can sow seeds indoors, in greenhouses, outside in pots, outside in garden boxes, or directly into the garden. When you sow seeds, you can save money. You can get a lot more plants for one package of seeds than you would if you were just to go out and buy single plants. Also, when you sow seeds, you can get spare plants and share them with others. Making sowing seeds easier. Keep your pots and trays steady while you work by putting your compost into a compost tidy, and then anchor the pot or tray by packing compost around to hold it. Use a wide or shallow dish or jam jar lid to hold your seeds. You should be able to pick them out more easily than from the packet. Hints and tips for sowing seeds. If you want to enjoy raising plants without seed sowing, plug plants can be a good choice for growing vegetables or creating annual flower displays. Only use fresh seed and take care to read the instructions fully. Some seeds need special treatment to germinate and grow. You can sow large seeds individually. If working with someone who is recovering from an illness or coping with the effects of a stroke or heart disease, use an activity like seed sowing to try to build strength and coordination. With improvement, put the items a little further away to try and increase reach. Pictured here is a mouth-operated seed sower. This precision seed sower allows the user to accurately pick up and place seeds by using suction from their mouth. Okay, pictured here on the left is a dibbler. It easily creates holes and furrows for planting. And then there's a plastic ball seed sower. It uses suction to dispense the seeds. You squeeze the rubber ball, hold, then release the seeds one at a time. And then you have a push-button syringe-style seed sower. And there's the joy of planting. Planting. Planting is a job most of us take on sometime in the year. Top tips to make planting easier. Grow seedlings in modular seed trays or small individual pots so there is no need for picking out extra seedlings, and the plants can be transferred outside after the danger of frost has passed. If you are planting a new bed, lay your plants in their pots in the space first. Leave enough space for the plants to grow to their final size. Only plant in small sections at a time. Don't rush to do everything at once. Prepare the planting hole to the right depth by placing the pot in the hole and making sure the soil comes up to the same height on the plant as the soil in the pot. Take everything you need with you: watering can, trowel, kneeler, labels, and so on. But don't overload your wheelbarrow. You might need to do it in more than one trip. A tool belt or an apron with a pocket might be helpful to carry smaller tools. If you use a wheelchair or chair, you will need a long-handled trowel to dig the planting hole and to guide the plant into place. Top tips to make planting easier when you're visually impaired. A right angle guide will help you plan your planting. If you are planting in a circular area, perhaps with flowers or herbs, you could use a hula hoop placed on the soil and pegged down as a guide. Making a planting hole for smaller plants might be easier if you use a bulb planter. Some equipment can help you when you're unable to bend to tend to the garden. Dig the planting hole with a tool that suits you. A long-handled trowel with a fist grip style handle and arm support might be best. Take care when lifting and carrying heavy pots. A lightweight wheelbarrow might be a good solution, or use a trolley or pot wheels. Watering is one of my favorite, most therapeutic tasks that I can do in the garden. Environmental modifications for watering and functional modifications for watering. In a hot summer, watering can take up a lot of time every day, particularly if you plant in containers. Whatever you like to grow, it makes sense to reduce your watering and choose watering systems that are easier to manage. Some watering cans can be awkward to carry, so choose a design you can manage easily. A lightweight plastic watering can with flat sides should be easier to carry and tip than a round can. Mulch the soil to keep moisture in and decrease the need to water. Add water-retaining gel or granules to the compost to keep pots and containers moist. Choose plants that like drier conditions, particularly for dry parts of the garden, or if you have free-draining soil. Water in the evening when there is less evaporation. Concentrate on the plants that really need water: seedlings, new plants, and containers. Plant native plant species to decrease the need for watering. Water vegetables when they need it most: when tubers are forming, when hearts are forming on leafy plants, and when peas and beans are flowering. Group containers together as they will need regular watering. Clay pots lose water more quickly than plastic ones. In the summer, place saucers under the containers, but remove them in the winter and in the prolonged wet weather. Take care. Watering using a can or heavy hose can cause a strain on the arms, hands, back, and legs. For watering small plants or areas, for example, seedlings or containers, use a small, lightweight watering can to keep the weight lifted to a minimum. Reaching to get water out to reach the plants can cause extra strain, so don't overstretch. Wet paths can cause glare and slips, so take care when watering or if it's been raining. Use a hose reel for easier hose management. Use lightweight expanding or curly hoses, which are easier and lighter to pull into position, and they spring back into place. Use a sprayer that is easy to operate and has a variety of spray options. Use a long-handled sprayer to water hanging baskets or other out-of-reach plants. A watering can with a valve control releases the water on demand and needs less tipping, saving arm strain. Automated watering options, including drip watering systems, can be set up and linked to hanging baskets, grow bags, or greenhouse plants. While these systems can be costly and fiddly to set up, they can save time in the long run and can even save water. You can use soaker hoses in beds and borders. They help deliver the water to the plants more slowly. With automatic systems, you can program a timer and plant watering in advance. Capillary matting takes water to the base of pots and seed trays, and they're useful in the greenhouse. Also, in-ground sprinkler systems can be useful. And then there's weeding. Getting rid of annual and perennial weeds keeps garden beds tidy and the plants healthy. Weeds inhibit plant growth and compete for moisture in the soil. Once established, weeds become hard to remove without damaging the plants. Lift weeds with a trowel or tackle larger areas with a sharp-edged tool like a hoe, which cuts off shallow-rooted weeds. Take care. Warm up before beginning and take plenty of breaks. Don't struggle and don't strain to pull out deep-rooted weeds by hand. Weeding with a trowel at ground level can put a strain on knees, back, wrists, and hands. Don't do too much at once and take breaks. Wear suitable shoes and clothing to protect feet and lower legs when using tools at ground level. Here is a swoe, a gripping weed puller, harpoon-style weed extractor, and a weeder hoe. Mowing the lawn. Mowing is the job of cutting the grass regularly to keep the lawn tidy and healthy. Cutting the grass encourages strong growth and finer grasses for a smooth, even lawn. The average lawn will need 30 cuts a year, but bear in mind that the less the lawn is cut, the slower it grows. The lawn will also benefit from some ongoing maintenance. Top tips to make mowing easier. If it is a closed cropped lawn, it will need more frequent mowing. A longer 1-inch cut shouldn't need mowing more than once a week in summer. Hard-wearing, slow-growing grass varieties are best. Also avoid sharp curves as it will be more time-consuming to mow. Clover, daisies, and other weeds will keep the lawn greener in dry weather, and leaving them in place will mean that not as much time will be spent weeding. Lawns cut level with a path are easier to mow. Plan the direction of mowing to avoid unnecessary turning, reversing, or overlapping. For wheelchair users, it can be a good idea to reinforce the lawn. You can do this by laying semi-rigid netting such as Neflon turf guard, which allows the grass to grow through. Mow pathways and leave the rest of the grass longer. If upkeep of a lawn is difficult, consider reducing the size of the lawn or replacing it with an area of paving or other hard surface. Consider employing a specialist company to carry out seasonal lawn maintenance. They use machinery to weed, feed, and aerate the lawn. This can be a cost-effective solution as it will save the expense of buying specialty equipment that can only be used once or twice a year. Take care. Using a mower can put a strain on the back, legs, and arms. Mow a stretch at a time and don't overdo it. Always warm up with few gentle stretches and only work for short periods to avoid strain. Modern electric mowers need two-handed control and constant grip, which can strain the hands. Emptying the grass box, raking, and feeding the lawn are extra jobs that can strain the back and arms. Use a power-driven motor if it has a reliable speed control. All electrical equipment should always be fitted with a residual circuit breaker. Do a little at a time and take regular breaks. Equipment and tools for mowing the lawn. A strong wheelchair user might be able to manage a light hover mower. A small wheeled electric mower may be an alternative. If the lawn is a simple shape, a robotic battery-powered motor might be suitable. It works by detecting a perimeter wire and mows the lawn automatically. Automatic mowers are now very spendy, but once set up require little or no effort to use. Depending on the disability, a riding mower might be a good solution for mowing a larger lawn. A lawnmower with a grass box reduces the amount of debris in the lawn. You can cut trips to empty the grass box with a mulch mower, which chops up the cuttings to a fine mulch and deposits them on the grass. Garden maintenance, pruning. Plant material grows and must be pruned and thinned periodically, or careful spacing will be defeated. Besides, regular trimming promotes plant health. A regular maintenance contract may help things stay shipshape. Pruning is cutting back shoots and branches on a shrub or tree to remove any dead or diseased growth, and to shape the plant and limit its size. Pruning encourages the production of buds to make flowers and fruit. Trimming is the job of cutting the hedge regularly to encourage strong growth for a full, dense hedge. Trimming maintains the shape and keeps the hedge at a manageable height and width. Top tips to make pruning easier. Use large pruners with bypass or anvil blades. Some gardeners prefer to use small loppers as they are operated with two hands. When using garden tools, make sure they are the right size for your hand and that they have comfortable grip. It's also worth checking the size is right for you when the hands are open. Make sure that you can release the safety catch easily. Finger loop pruners might be easier to grip and easier to hold on to. Choose shrubs and trees that don't need pruning or those that don't need a lot of pruning. Look at the plant label or ask for advice before you buy. Fruit trees and some soft fruit bushes sometimes come in a semi-trained form that is easier to maintain. Take care when pruning. The repetitive actions needed when using any pruning tools can strain your hand. Always warm up with a few gentle stretches, tackle a bit at a time, and take regular breaks. Don't try to cut material that is too thick for the pruners. Reaching up to prune can put a strain on your legs, back, neck, and arms. Don't overstretch and do a little at a time. Be careful when reaching in a shrub to prune, as the branches or thorns may scratch. Wear protective clothing and good gardening gloves when pruning. Equipment and tools that are helpful. Ratchet action and power level pruners require less strength and can ease some of the strain on the hands. An extendable tree pruner with a cut and hold feature. Grip and hold the cut material so that it doesn't fall to the ground. That can decrease the need for bending. If gardening sitting down, longer, lightweight gear action plastic pruners have good cutting power. A reasonable level of strength is still needed to use them. Long reach pruners are designed for hard to reach areas. The shorter length models can be used with one hand. Keep all pruning tools sharp and well oiled, and it will take much less effort to cut. Sweeping garden paths and paved areas keeps them clear and safe. Sweep and rake regularly, especially during fall or when you've been weeding or doing a lot of other garden work. Top tips to make sweeping and raking easier. A small, lightweight device might be easier to use. Use pipe insulation pushed over the handle to improve the grip on the broom or rake handle. Replace the broom to keep good strong bristles, or buy a broom with plastic or nylon bristles which are almost impossible to wear out. Gather up weeds as you go, or spread a plastic sheet down when weeding or hedge cutting to reduce the debris. Take care. Sweeping and raking can strain the arms, back, and hands. Always warm up with a few gentle stretches and only work for short periods. Long-handled broom and dustpans can be useful to decrease bending when sweeping.